So, isn't it interesting how Abrahamic religions were started in order to tell a sect of people that they don't have to kill children anymore? Yes. So all Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, have the patriarch Abraham in common. And the story goes in Genesis, in the origin story, that Abraham thinks he hears God say, hey, take your kid, you love your kid Isaac more than me, so you better take him up a mountain and sacrifice him and give him to me to prove your love for me. So this is the kind of God that they're speaking about, right? So Abraham takes Isaac up a mountain under deception. Isaac doesn't know what's going on. His dad puts him on the altar, and just as Abraham is about to stab him and sacrifice his child, he hears God's voice. This is a story. And the voice says, no, Abraham, you don't have to do that. Here's a ram in the bush that you can sacrifice instead of your own child. So what's essentially happening here is that historically there were always a group of Israelites who were sacrificing children to Moloch. And that's why in the Old Testament it continuously comes up. Even Solomon releases an edict and says, stop taking children up to the Topeth on the hill, the altar points, and sacrificing children. Right? This is coming up a lot in the Old Testament. The Jewish concern, the original Jews, their concern with the people misunderstanding who God is. So the first Abrahamic religion is Judaism, and Christianity and Islam come out of it. And the point of it, the Old Testament, was to tell people to stop sacrificing children. That's the opening story with Abraham. The story is not written for normal people or people who don't have this extremist poison, atonement, crazy warring God who needs them to kill their own children and kill children and do these ritual sacrifices in order to atone for their sins. So that's the Satanism at play in the world today. It's not some people, sacrificing, to a goat and pentagrams and Ouija boards, the way movies make you think about it. It's actually just extremist Talmudic Jews who have been at play for millennia. And that sect is what throws their own people under the bus. Their own people don't even know they exist, and some of them do. But you can see immediately from the origin story and the point of the Abrahamic religion is, hey, by the way, you don't have to kill your child. God is different now. Chill out. So that already happens. That's the opening of Abrahamic religion, right? It's written for those people who are misunderstanding what life is. They are misunderstanding their concept of God consciousness. So you see it already there, right? How can that be the foundational patriarchal story of your peoples, my peoples? It was always talking to that sect. It's not made for normal people who don't have blood sacrifice poison in their brains. If you give the Abrahamic religion to normal people, they tend to become very oppressed because it's so enforcing and so hectic, because it's trying to tell it's written for those extremists that God is angry. Stop doing it. God is angry with you. He's angry at you. And it was people trying to write scripture for this sect that weren't getting it and were causing a lot of destruction and pain. It's not written for normal people. That's why Jesus came for the Jews. Because he too had to tell the same story as the Abraham story, which is, hey, listen, God is chill, God is cool. You don't need to do this. This is the nature of love. This is the nature of consciousness. Relax. And of course, this extremist sect, the Pharisees, who are still at play today and in very high seats, have him crucified in the story, right? And now we see Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell are linked to Mossad. How's that? An international intelligence agency is knowingly using pedophilia for power and control. Well, why wouldn't they? Because that agency is governed by this extremist ideology that the story of Abraham was written for. These people have been worshipping Moloch for millennia. That's Satanism. Satanism, Moloch is hiding behind Yahweh. It's the same thing. Anyway, that's my thought of the day.